Morning legends, thanks for tuning in. Today I wanted to go over a phenomenon I've noticed over the years that I've coined the empath's curse. Today I wanted to explore what it is, why it happens, and look into a few actionable steps that you can take to reclaim some of your time, energy, and even offer care at a deeper level than you were before. We're all familiar with the phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup, but that's not the extent of what this message means. A better phrase might be, you can only care for others to the extent that you care for yourself. Now, I'm not talking about in terms of physical health guidelines and recommendations, although I'm sure that there's far too much biased and unsolicited advice that gets thrown around these days, but more so amongst family, friends, and the ones that we care about. The ability to give the time, space, and energy to lend an ear and hear someone out. It's also the ability to listen and inspire curiosity around how someone can better move through their situation, rather than giving quick, actionable steps of advice on things that they're doing wrong. Now, the issue at hand is not the ability or someone's ability to hold space for other people. It's the overwhelming amount of people that don't do it for themselves. Caring for others vies from the same resource pool as the one that you use to care for yourself. Not only that, but the depth that we look after ourselves is probably a fair indicator of the depth that we have the ability to care for others too. I've been a coach and mentor for about 15 years across health and performance. And I promise you, those that struggle with this the most are those that have the highest expectations on themselves from others to deliver a level of care. People like doctors, nurses, coaches, carers, teachers, all these people that it's their duty, it's their responsibility, even their job to deliver a high level of care for other people. They are the ones that struggle with this the most, hence why I called it the empath's curse. A lot of these people really want to help others and really get a kick out of doing it, but many also get pissed off, triggered, and reactive when they find themselves giving too much away, and often have stories about so-and-so being so needy and so demanding. Isn't it time we take responsibility for our own actions, our own resource allocation, and give some to ourselves first? I've consolidated the 5 main causes into these next points, which I'm going to explore briefly. I want to touch on the shared emotional resource pool, difficulty setting boundaries, over-identification with others' pain, shame, prioritizing self-care, and general emotional exhaustion and burnout. Number 1, the shared emotional resource pool. As I mentioned earlier, the resources that it takes to care for people is the same one that we use to care for ourselves. Whether it's listening, supporting, or helping others through their problems, all things that we could be doing for ourselves come from the same pool that you need for your own care. If you're constantly giving without doing any replenishing, that pool runs dry and it does it fast. And when it's empty, you'll find yourself just not being able to give that same care to others. And more importantly, you won't be able to give that same level of care to yourself. Think of it like a bank account. If you're always withdrawing but never putting money in, you'll go into emotional debt. Really good reflection is to ask yourself, am I overdrawn right now? When was the last time that I deposited back into my own well-being? Number 2, difficulty setting and respecting boundaries. I say respecting because I feel like a lot of people feel as though that others overstep and they exceed their boundaries, yet here we are, not even creating where those boundaries lie, and we're not even respecting them ourselves. Saying no can feel really uncomfortable, especially if you're someone that prioritizes and prizes connection and compassion. But the truth is, every time you say yes to something that drains you, you're saying no to something that could restore you. So there's an important line that you have to walk to stay on balance. These boundaries aren't walls, but they're bridges. You can cross them at any time, and they create a healthy flow between giving and receiving, so you don't end up feeling resentful or drained. So start small. Say no to one thing this week that doesn't align with your energy or your values. Number 3, over-identification with other people's pain. Empaths have a gift for feeling what others feel, but this can become so overwhelming. Absorbing others' emotions and feelings leaves such little space for processing and feeling through your own. Conversely, versus before, if you were carrying around a cup of water and it was full to the brim of all these other people's water, and you're trying to move around and you're trying to carry this thing and you're trying to add more, and all you feel and what starts spitting out the side is all this emotion that might not even be yours. So I encourage you to practice detachment. It's okay to care deeply without fully taking on someone else's burden. Remind yourself, their feelings are valid, but they're not mine to carry. Number 4, shame around prioritizing self-care. We live in a society that glorifies self-sacrifice, especially if you're in a caregiving role. Some people wear it as a badge of honor, how burnt out they are. But self-care isn't selfish. It is essential. The shame many feel when taking time for themselves comes from a belief that their worth is tied to how much they can give to others. I need you to reframe this belief. Caring for yourself is what allows you to care deeply and sustainably for others. You can't inspire people to look after their own well-being if you're not doing it yourself. An awesome tip here is to treat yourself like you're someone that you care about. You can ask yourself while you're daydreaming or while you are in reflection or journaling, what do I need today to feel supported and energized? The final stage of the empath's curse is burnout. This is when you've given so much for so long and you've got nothing left. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, it's all gone. It's not just about being tired. It's being unable to show up for anyone else, including yourself. Keep an eye out for constant fatigue, irritability, a feeling of disconnection, or you're not getting the same spark or joy out of the things that normally energize you. If you're feeling this way, it's probably time to take a foot off the gas and prioritize rest. I recommend you start with small restorative actions like pulling up a meditation video on YouTube, doing some journaling, some reflection, even getting out in nature, or just making sure that you're going to bed on time and you're restoring your circadian rhythm. The empath's curse is an inevitable situation for many humans, particularly introverts. A lot of us face it and remain unaware until we hit the wall completely cooked, unable to give anything else. And personally, I know how good it feels to alleviate the suffering of someone in need when they need it. It offers a deep sense of fulfillment that for a long time I mistakenly took for progress in my own life. But after multiple burnouts, I found myself in the same gloomy, dark place in my own mind, and I was quietly resenting my day-to-day activities, and even resenting the people I claimed to care so deeply for. Reflectively, it's so easy to get caught in this cycle, and it's part of our culture to be praised for the compassion that we give to others, and it even offers us a deep sense of connection that we might not get elsewhere. And this too has left me with impressions of friendship or kinship. But once they no longer needed my care, but I looked to them, the same wasn't reciprocated. And I was lost because I didn't know how to look after myself. It wasn't until I started implementing these things that I found a sense of balance and a sense of peace and progress, caring for others, coming from a place of abundance rather than depletion. So to wrap it up and put it down into things that you could do this week. Number 1, create boundaries through how you allocate your time and your decisions, and allocate them in a way that protects your energy, at least more often. Number 2, treat yourself with the same care and compassion that you give to others. Treat yourself like you're someone that you care about. My favorite journaling prompt with dealing with this is writing in the book, and I write on the line, I write out the question, what would I tell my best friend if they were going through this exact situation? Number 3, schedule time to recharge. Make it non-negotiable. Make yourself a priority. 30 minutes can go a really long way compared to 0. Number 4, learn to focus your care more selectively. Align your allocations with your values. Number 5, build a support network of people that support and nurture you when you need it. I still struggle asking for help when I need it, but over time I've accumulated some amazing people who can often pick up when things are off for me, and I've got no problem talking these things through with them. Even opening up to people that you don't normally, you probably find that these people care just as much about you. So there it is, 5 things that you can do to help yourself cure the empath's curse as we move into 2025. Caring for yourself is the greatest thing you can do to care for others. Reclaiming your time and energy isn't about you. It's about being able to show up for the people and the causes that you care about most. I'm curious to hear if you or someone you know is caught in this cycle too. Share a story or let us know what resonated with you. I'd love to chat and read about it. And if this was helpful, drop us a like. Cheers, team.